Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk you through the 46 books that I have unhauled lately. So welcome back to a recurring feature on my YouTube channel, and that is all of the books that I have unhauled lately. I was trying something new for the last unhaul where I actually physically held on to all of the books until I could film the video, and I really tried to do that for this one, but I just had so many books. The pile was getting completely out of hand, and yeah, I had to start listing them on Vinted and places like that to get some of them out of my collection. So a plug right at the start of the video, if your location allows it and you can have Vinted, I would definitely follow me on there because that is where my unhauls get listed first, pretty much as they happen, so you can get your hands on these a little bit quicker. Or if you just want to see what I'm unhauling, that would also work. So as I said, I have 46 books here to talk to you about. This unhaul is from the 1st of March until the 17th of May. So all of these books are just ones that either I'd read previously and wasn't going to read again, I did read and didn't love them, I tried to read and couldn't get into them, or books that basically I was doing a lot of mood reading in this time, and any books that I was thinking about and I was like, oh my god, if I pull that out of my TBR jar, like I'm gonna not want to read it, then they need to leave my collection because I'm not excited for them and they can go. It is currently a Saturday night when I'm filming this, and my choice of refreshment before I sat down to film this video was it's in this glass bottle. I don't know what the YouTube rules are, so this could get to be an interesting unhaul. Okay, starting off with the worst book I read this year, good place to start in an unhaul. We have They All Fall Down by Roxanne St. Clair. This is a YA mystery thriller that I read back in March, I believe, and it was just awful, is the nicest way I could talk about it. There isn't a nice way. I can't talk about these books in too much detail, otherwise we will be here literally forever, and I want to keep this video under like 15 minutes. I'll link my March and April wrap-ups. I can't link my May because there are a few May books here. I will link it retrospectively when that comes out because this video will come up before the May wrap-up, if this makes sense. Am I making sense? I'm probably not making sense. So yeah, basically what I'm saying, I'll link any wrap-ups that are available and any vlogs for May, so that you can hear my in-the-moment thoughts. Otherwise we'll be here forever if I talk in detail about these books. But They All Fall Down by Roxanne St. Clair was my most hated book of this year so far, and it needs to go. We then have I'm a Therapist and My Patient is the Next School Shooter by Dr. Harper. So this is the first Dr. Harper book, and I'd unhauled number 3 because I didn't like it, and then I unhauled number 2 because I was like, well, I don't really need to keep it if I'm not finishing the series. And then I kept looking at my shelves, and even though this book wasn't taking up too much space, there was just no need for me to be keeping it. When I knew I wasn't going to read it again, if I did read it again, it would be like a reread for a reading challenge because it was quick, and that doesn't feel very genuine to me. It didn't need to be part of my collection anymore, so that one has gone. We then have episode 13 by Craig DeLuey, which I'm actually like still kind of upset about, but I'm glad it's gone to a better home. So this one was a horror that I read in March, and it was a gift from Marlene. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that I read it pretty much straight away, but it has meant that it's kind of left my collection straight away as well. I wish I would have kept it on my shelves for longer being unread, and then it would have been part of my collection for longer. But yeah, I just didn't really feel the need to reread this one. I had been told if I wanted to reread it, then I should go for the audiobook, so I don't need to keep the physical book. But thank you again, Marlene, for the gift. Just sadly, it's moved on now. I read it, but I did read it, and that's the whole point of gifting someone a book. God, I feel like I'm talking myself into a hole. Next up we have The Girls I've Been by Tess Sharp, and I read this, God, a year ago maybe, and I did have a good time with it, but I just never see myself rereading it, so I decided to get rid of it from my collection. I'm trying to be a little bit harsher in what I keep and what I unhaul, because at some point this whole collection is gonna have to be broken down. So holding on to books that I did enjoy but I didn't love doesn't really feel like practical anymore, so this one is leaving, but I did really enjoy it. I should say it's a YA like heist bank robbing kind of book. It's good. We then have The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which is the prequel to They Both Die at the End. I reread They Both Die at the End and absolutely loved it, and then came into The First Die at the End, and I just don't feel like it's that essential. Like I didn't absolutely love it, so I don't need to keep it on my shelves forever. I do have this exclusive edition. It's signed. I don't need to keep it. I didn't love it, and I'm only keeping books that I love. On that same vein, we have A Kind of Spark by Al McNichol, and I did rate this 5 stars when I read it, but it just doesn't feel like something I need to read again. This is a late middle grade, early YA book looking at a character with autism, and it was really insightful at the time I read it. I had an amazing time with it. I cried, but it just wasn't something that I was like wanting to reach for again, so I decided it's probably best suited in someone else's life. We then have another book where I was just trying to be a little bit harsher, and there's a lot of books on my TBR that I look at and say, oh, I'll probably give that 3 stars. And I don't need to be keeping books on my TBR that I don't think I'm going to absolutely love. I should be reading to love a book, not because I think it's going to be, it's okay. So I'm unhauling When We Collided by Emery Lord. I've read 2 Emery Lord books now, I think, and nothing's had higher than like a 3.5 star. The premise of this doesn't really intrigue me all too much. It's just a YA contemporary. I'm sure if I would have read it at 15, maybe I would have loved it, but nothing's pulling me to this book. I don't want to read it. I don't think I'm gonna love it, so it just gets to go. Pretty sure I bought that one from a charity shop for like 50p as well, so like it's fine. I just need to stop having an emotional attachment to all of these books, and I'm sorry if you have emotional attachments to all your books and this feels evil, but yeah, I just need to be more brutal. I can't keep this giant collection. Similarly, we have Every Line of You by Naomi Gibson. This is a YA dystopian sci-fi kind of story. This is signed and has sprayed edges. I think I got it on BookSwap back in the days of BookSwap. Remember that? And yeah, I don't want to read it. I would look at all my shelves and think like, oh, I hope I don't get that out of my TBR jar. So that means it needs to go. Someone will surely love this, just that person isn't me. We then have 3 books, which again are pretty much the same story. We have Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez. We have If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzalez and Cale Dietrich. And we have Of Curses and Kisses by Sandia Manon. 3 books here I got hold of when they were very hyped. I'm not reading a crazy amount of YA contemporary, and all 3 of these were ones that I was like, oh yeah, maybe one day, but I'm not going to give them more than 3 stars. And knowing that, what's the point of me keeping them? I'm not gonna love them. These aren't gonna be my new favorite thing. I'm really sorry to these authors, but they're not gonna be my new favorite thing. So why am I holding on to them? I did try and read Of Curses and Kisses and I just couldn't get into it, so they can all go. I feel so evil. We then have one I actually hauled fairly recently, and that's I Feel Bad About My Neck by Nora Ephron. And I bought this in Spain in a charity shop for like 50 cents. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna read it, definitely gonna read it. Nothing about this is making me want to pick it up anymore. It was gonna be a nice, easy read around the pool, and then my Spain holiday, I didn't read as much as I thought I would, so I didn't even think about picking it up then. I brought it home, nothing about it's drawing me to it now. So again, it will be better in someone else's life. We then have Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Myers-Sane, and it's one that was on my wish list for ages, and then I took it off because I was like, I don't think I'm really interested in this anymore. And then I saw it in Aldi or Lidl for $2.99. I thought, I've seen that book, I need to get it. So I bought it, and I still had no desire to read it a couple months later. So I was like, what on earth am I doing? Put it on Vinted, it's gone into someone else's life, and I hope they enjoy it in the way that I didn't think I was going to. This is really just showing my impulse purchases, and March, April and May were the months I just said bye to impulse purchases because I don't need them. Oh, we also have Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. I missed that one off my list. That has now left my collection as well. Same reason. I'm sure it's a great book. I just wasn't that intrigued anymore. We then have The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu, and I was really trying to be interested in reading this. I put it on a few TBRs, and every time I was like, okay, I'm gonna read that now, I never got around to it. I wasn't motivated to read it, so it's gonna be better off in someone else's collection. It's another one that I thought I'll give it 3 stars when I read it. I don't need to hold on to it. We then have one I really did try and read, and that is Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao. And I got the arc of this at Yauk. I was really excited to have it. I have a signed arc, it's very exciting. I tried to read it for the Patreon buddy read, and yeah, I DNF'd it. Couldn't get into it, didn't find it interesting. Very well written, didn't make me continue though. Maybe my most upsetting unhaul of all time, we have The Initial Insult by Mindy McGuinness. And I bought this full price in hardback because I knew I was gonna love it. I've loved everything I've read from Mindy McGinnis until I read this book. I very much disliked this book. I don't really have anything positive to say. It's a weird horror, I guess. Mindy McGinnis's stuff is really, really hard to explain, but we have like a weird torture to get information scenario. There's a talking panther. I was just lost, and yeah, I'm really sad to see this go because I bought it knowing I'd love it and hated it. So it's gotta go. We then have 3 in the same series, only one I can show you. We have Desperate Measures, Neon Gods, and A Worthy Opponent by Katie Robert. So Neon Gods I read a while back and I was like, oh, I'll keep it, like there's no harm in keeping it. But then I suddenly, like one day was like, I'm not going to read it again. I enjoyed it, but I don't need to keep it. And then Desperate Measures and A Worthy Opponent are both, they're in the Wicked Villain series. It's book 1 and book 3, I think. And I unhauled the rest of the series for the books I didn't enjoy and was keeping hold of those 2, or these 2, this one that's not physically here and this one. I was holding on to them because I was like, they're the fun ones, I'll read them again at some point. And then I genuinely sat with myself and said, Chloe, do you need to read Daddy Jafar again? I don't think I do. There's spicier romance of things I'm more interested in. I'm not an Aladdin girl, so it being Jafar wasn't a massive thing for me. I'll just read a cowboy smutty romance if that's what I need in my life, because that is, you know, I'm not thinking about Jafar, I'm thinking about a cowboy, so I don't need to keep these. We then have See Me by Nicholas Sparks, which I read, God, was I reading it on my way back from America, I think, last time I went? And yeah, I liked this book. Don't get me wrong, it was a contemporary romance with a bit of a mystery thriller tied in as well. It was definitely good. It just wasn't one that I need to keep forever. So I said goodbye to that one. No, I read it on the way to America because we then have Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl by Joya Goffney, which I definitely read on the way to America because I left it on the plane when I finished it. This was a YA contemporary. It was good, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't one I needed to keep in my life. I would recommend it to teenagers. I think it was a little bit too heavy on the sexual content for me, but it wasn't a bad book by any means, just not one I need to read again. We then have Influence by Sarah Shepherd and Lilia Buckingham, which again I read in America, and I actually brought this one back because there was room in my case, so I thought I may as well hold it up in a video. And this one is a YA contemporary following 4 influencer teenage girls and a mystery that arises where one of the girls is dead. Looking back, I can't remember what you're supposed to know and what you're not supposed to go, so I'm just gonna stop talking. But it is a YA mystery thriller with contemporary elements. There's a bit of a teen romance thrown in, there's a bit of mixed media thrown in, and it was definitely interesting, but I just don't think it was a perfectly written book. So yeah, I didn't love it. It can go. We then have The Family by Louise Jensen, which is an adult mystery thriller again. I read a lot of mystery thrillers, which is surrounding a cult, and I didn't dislike it by any means. I just don't think it was that fantastic of a book. I had a really beat up copy. I wasn't going to read it again, so it got the boot. Then we have the potentially most controversial of my unhauls in the past couple months. We have House of Earth and Blood, House of Sky and Breath, and House of Flame and Shadow, ow, that one hurt, by Sarah J Maas. I had been buying and collecting the, this is the Waterstones exclusive. I got this on pre-order. I was reading House of Earth and Blood and I got halfway through, like twice. I wasn't interested in the story, it wasn't gripping me at all, and I just thought, why on earth am I acting like I have to love everything this woman writes? If she writes something else, Throw in a Glass, I'm there. If she writes something else, ACOTAR, I'm there. But these, they didn't do anything for me. Well, the first book wasn't doing anything for me, and I decided to part with the best part of 1,000 pages of my TBR, and I haven't really thought twice about these since I said bye, so I feel like it was a good decision. We then have The Nanny by Lana Ferguson, which I gave 4 stars, I think, in April. I did enjoy it, but it just wasn't one I need to read again. It was an adult romance, it was a little bit silly, and yeah, I hope someone else enjoys it as a good summer read, but it wasn't one I need to read again. We also have The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which was another mystery thriller. It was good, I just didn't absolutely love it, and I will keep my favourite Riley Sagers on the shelf. I think they're back here. I don't need one that I didn't love. Sorry, I got very distracted. There's a fly buzzing around the room, and it's absolutely, is that a fly or a bee? It's a very, I need to do something about it. Can it just leave the room? What are you? Oh my god. Okay, that was mildly stressful. I'm back. What did I get to? The next book I got rid of is Without Merit by Colleen Hoover, which is a YA contemporary. I did enjoy it, but on the scale of Colleen Hoover's, like, it really wasn't worth keeping in my opinion, so I've unhauled that one and I hope the new owner enjoys it. We then have a bit of a weird one. We have Woman Eating by Claire Coder, which I read in April and I still don't really understand what I read. This is like a vampire book, but like a literary fiction take. It confused me quite a lot. I'm never going to go back to it. I'm glad I gave it a go, but yeah, someone else can enjoy this now. We then have Gleam by Raven Kennedy, which is book 3 in the Plated Prisoner series. I previously unhauled the first 2 and then the third one. I read it, didn't love it, whacked it on Vinted, and that one is also gone. So no more Plated Prisoner for me, which I'm very happy about. Next up we have No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall, and this is, you guessed it, another mystery thriller. I did enjoy this book. It was very like forgettable though for me because I'm thinking back and I can't really remember what happened. Clearly I got this as a book of the month book. I was really excited about owning this. I picked it in my Patreon 48-hour readathon and yeah, it just didn't have a lasting impact on me, so I hope someone else enjoys it. We then have After the Silence by Louise O'Neill, which is one of the oldest books on my TBR, and I read 50 pages of it and hated the writing style, so this one is going. I'm kind of sad about it because I held on to it for so long. I think the cover is absolutely gorgeous, but I just didn't like the writing and knew I wasn't going to persevere with it, so it's gone. Same story then with The Furies by Katie Lowe. I read 50 pages and DNF'd it. Wasn't interested. I don't like the writing style. I couldn't get into the story at that point, so thought, screw it. I'm gonna give it no more than 3 stars. It can go. And then a book that I did give 3 stars, I don't think it's bad by any means, but I'm never gonna read it again, and that is 6 Stories by Matt Wesolowski. I read this right at the start of May. No, I didn't. Right at the end of April. Yeah, it was fine. The typical Chloe phrase of it was fine. I didn't feel anything too strongly about it, so yeah, it can go, and I hope someone else enjoys it. How many times have I said that? Okay, hydration break. Because now we have the May books. Not long after you see this video, you're gonna get my May wrap up. So I don't want to duplicate what I'm saying too many times, so I won't talk about these for too long. I'll just let you know what I'm unhauling. So we have Sweet Sorrow by David Nichols. This is a contemporary, kind of a literary contemporary. I enjoyed it. It's just not one I'm ever gonna read again. We then have Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, which is a YA contemporary focusing on mental health. I did like it. I'm fortunate enough to not be able to get in the headspace of our main character who is dealing with some horrific stuff. I'm very fortunate that I couldn't quite understand her, and it's not one that had that much of an impact on me. We then have One by One by Frida McFadden, which I don't think is Frida McFadden's strongest work. This was a 3-star for me. I didn't outright hate it. It just wasn't one that I was inclined to hold on to and read again in the future. A very cheesy thriller. Yeah, just not keepable. We then have The Longest Whale Song by Jacqueline Wilson, which is a middle grade book focusing on a girl who gets very interested in whales while her mom is in a coma. I thought this was a very moving story. It was very sad. It was very loving. I'm not going to read it again though. We then have By Your Side by Casey West, which is a YA contemporary. It's a very romance heavy YA contemporary. I liked it. I just don't think I'm going to need to reach for it again in the future. So I hope someone else can enjoy this book. Again, I've said it again. Similarly, The Lucky List by Rachel Lippincott, YA contemporary. I had a good time with it. I thought it was good. Again, we're dealing with grief and death in this story, so it was quite impactful, but I just, yeah, don't think I'll reach for it again. We then have Flock by Kate Stewart, which is a little bit spicier than I realised adult romance. Even though the spice doesn't hold up, it's just, as my mom would say, fruitier. We're following Cecilia, who gets into some sort of relationship with, what's his face, Sean and Dominic, and there's something going on. They're in some sort of brother situation. It wasn't that great. I didn't have a great time with it, and I won't be continuing this series. We then have Five Survive by Holly Jackson, which I'm really disappointed in because this is my 2nd worst book of the year so far. I didn't like this book. I know a lot of people do, and I don't really know why. I've met Holly Jackson. She is adorable. She is so kind and so nice, so I really hate to say this, but I enjoyed A Good Girl's Guide to Murder in that series. I have Rachel Price up there, and I have it signed from when I met her, and I really liked that one, but this one I just thought was a little bit silly, so not for me. Almost there, guys. We have A Pound of Flesh by Sophie Jackson, which is an adult romance following a young female prison tutor and one of the prisoners. This wasn't bad by any means, but I didn't get that attached to either of the characters or their relationship, so it's just not one that I'm ever going to reach for again. And last but by no means least, we have Teach Me by Olivia Dade, which I read earlier this week actually, and it just didn't do anything for me, like especially. We're following two teachers who strike up a romance, and it just wasn't really like grasping my attention all that much. I've unhauled it to one of my friends like as soon as I read it because I was just like, I think she'll get more out of it. I didn't massively love it. So there we go guys, there are the 46 books that I unhauled in the last 2.5 months. I have been particularly brutal with my unhauling. I would expect that to continue. I need to shift some of these books out of my collection. I need to be reading them faster. I need to be unhauling the ones I don't like and really curating my collection, because I was getting close to 1,000 books in this room and that number was really scaring me. Thinking about even like if, I hate to even speak it into existence, but even if my landlord was like, you're out, I've got to move 1,000 books. So in any situation, I think at the minute it's unsustainable for me to have this many books. So I need to start working my collection down. I've talked for long enough. I need to go and put my dinner in the oven because we're actually fairly into the evening, which you wouldn't guess from the lighting. So I need to go and sort myself out, but please let me know if you have any opinions on any of these books. As I said before, my Vinted will be down in the description if you are interested in any of these. They're pretty much, if I held them up, they're available on Vinted, apart from the Arc of Watermoon, because obviously you can't sell arcs. But yeah, apart from that, I'm gonna stop yapping. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.